Put some wax on the tracks and slide on out.
Hi, it's me, Boo. I'm back with another, my opinion, kind of a review. Nothing concrete here, all subjective, of course. We're all different. This one is on one of my favorite houses, and that's Tom Ford. And this one is a recent split I did on Facebook, and that's Cafe Rose. And I did go through a sample of this before I ordered, did a split on Facebook. And the first couple of times that I wore it, I was like, oh, what does that remind me of? What does that remind me of? And then about the third time, I'm like, duh. It totally reminds me of Noir de Noir, which I also have a bottle of. The difference to me is that Noir de Noir just has hints of the rose. I mean, it doesn't overpower you with the rose fragrance. Um, and this one doesn't either. This one is also it. The rose is very prominent, of course. It's in the name, Cafe Rose. Um, but it's not. For me, it's not that cloying kind of a rose. It's a creamy, really a fresh budded bloom kind of a rose. Um, it it truly reminds me of the that part in American Beauty where he's thinking of the young girl on the bed and all those rose petals are falling down on top of her. This is the aroma that I would think would be happening if she had a cup of coffee on one side of her bed and then a carnation instant breakfast vanilla flavor on the other side of her bed. This is kind of what I picture this to smell like. it the vanilla that's in this that I detect, and I think there's vanilla in it, I'm not sure, um, isn't your baking vanilla or your vanilla bean uh, kind of a smell, like you would get from Vaniglia del Madagascar. It's This is more of a vanilla. Like honestly, it reminded me of when I was a kid. I'm 5'9", so I'm tall, but I did a lot of that growing like 3 inches in 2.5 months during one summer between sixth and seventh grade. And I was eating 5, 6 meals a day. I was hungry all the time, and my mom started buying Carnation Instant Breakfast, to kind of do as a snack, so maybe it would fill me up and give me some calories. And I like the chocolate, but I love the vanilla. And this reminds me of that smell that once I mixed it with the milk, that vanilla milk kind of a smell. But like I said, it's not that pure kind of smoky vanilla smell that baking vanilla, uh, uh, the vanilla extract has. This is a real creamy, milky kind of a vanilla. It doesn't have any bite. It doesn't have any edges at all. It's all round. So, and the coffee in this, the coffee is not a real biting kind of a coffee. This is more of a latte, I would say, kind of a coffee smell. And the prominent note, and that's all in the top notes though, because when it dries down, it really is creamy roses, is what I get. And it does get a little soapy. I don't usually like soapy. I don't like dishwashing soap kind of soapy. Hand soap soapy though can be kind of nice. So, and it's more of that hand soap soapy. Unlike his Neroli Portofino, in my opinion, the reason why I didn't like it is because it was the dishwashing liquid kind of soapy, and I'm not sure why one of them bothers me and the other one is slightly appealing. Who knows? It's, whatever trips your trigger, floats your boat, blows up your skirt, all of the above. So, and for me, it's hand soap. Irish Spring, that kind of a soap, or a ivory soap or something. I love the smell of that. Well, not as much as I love vanilla or amber or something, but I do love the smell. It can be nice if it's in the background, which it is with this. It doesn't overpower it like it did with Neroli Portofino, in my opinion. This is a much more subdued, soapy rose in the dry down. And, you know, I've heard people talk about cocoa notes. I'm not really getting that. I just still get the Carnation Instant Breakfast vanilla flavor, kind of a smell, and the latte and the rose. And honestly, the latte smell kind of goes in the background in the dry down, and the Carnation Instant Breakfast vanilla and the soapy rose definitely come to the foreground. But blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Let me just tell you what's in it. And I'll tell you the difference between the two as well. And it lasts really well. Projection is moderate, in my opinion. Moderate to good, or moderate to heavy. I don't think it's a beast like some of his others. This was launched this year. Top notes are saffron, black pepper, and there is just a bite of black pepper, or actually I would have thought it was more of a pink pepper at the beginning, but it's really subtle, really subtle. Let's see, black pepper and May rose. Middle notes are Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose, and coffee. Base notes are incense, amber, sandalwood, and patchouli. And one person says that it smells similar to Roses Vanille by Mancera. So I don't know about that one. But then Noir de Noir, the difference between the two, it looks like, Cafe Rose and Noir de Noir, they both have the rose, the patchouli, and the saffron. And they're both really quite prominent in both of these. So I think that's why I get that creamy rose, kind of a similar scent between both of them, kind of the same feel. But Noir de Noir, of course, has the oud in it, and it's got tuber and oak moss, and those things are not listed. Oh, and I think it's got like, no, that was it. And then the Tom Ford's has, you know, of course, the coffee and the sandalwood and the pepper, and it says amber and incense, and I don't get a lot of amber and incense, honestly, out of this, folks. It would make me like it even more if it did. But even in the total dry down, there's still no edges on this thing. It never gets that, you know. Now Noir de Noir has some oud and stuff in there, so in the dry down there, it keeps getting interesting. This I find to be much more linear in its dry down. The middle notes, once it gets to the middle notes, it kind of stays that way. It doesn't do a whole lot of fluctuation, in my opinion, for the rest of the dry down. Like I said, it lasts pretty good, but I don't get the amber and the incense in it. I just get touches of patchouli. But it's really just a buttery rose, a really creamy, vanillic, but a milky vanilla kind of a rose. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that, and I love it, and I'm so glad I have it to add to my collection. But my absolute favorite Tom Ford I haven't even talked about, and that's Amber Absolute, which I'm going to be doing a vid on here really soon. That's a knee dropper. I mean, I can barely stand when I put that on. It's like, oh, I smell really good right now, and I'm going to smell really good for the next 12 hours because that stuff is a beast. But anyway, I'll talk to you about that later, and y'all have a great day, great weekend. Peace.
Put some wax on the tracks and slide on out of here.